Okay, hopefully you guys are all seeing what I'm seeing right now. So yes, my presentation is called Give That Dog a Gram. It is about our digital dogs, Dawgs spelled D-A-W-G at the University of Georgia, our social ambassador program here. As Nikki said, I'm Jamie Lewis. I'm a social media coordinator in the Division of Marketing and Communications here in Athens. So what is Digital Dawgs? Why did we start the social media ambassador program? We are the flagship university in the state. We're very large. We have 17 schools and colleges. We have hundreds of student organizations. Hundreds is honestly probably a low number. We have students from all backgrounds, nearly every state, multiple countries. So with limited resources, we're a team of two here and other competing strategic content stories to tell. How do we better tell this like comprehensive, big UGA story, especially thinking about our prospective students? How do we tell them, what life will be like at UGA? So thinking about that, we also thought about where is the best place to tell that story and to reach, in particular, that prospective student audience. So the solution for us was to meet the current and prospective students where they primarily are. We kicked this program off in mid to late spring 2018. So at the time, Instagram was really where those like 15, 16, 17-year-old to like 22-year-old students were. So we really wanted to aim this at our current and prospective student audience. We looked around at our campus and realized, cool, we already have a group of really well-connected, enthusiastic, and excited students serving as influencers to that audience every single day. They were just doing it in person. They were serving as orientation leaders. They were, giving tours through the visitor center. They were on our student government leadership board. They were members of Arch Society, which is our president's sort of ambassador group that represents his office at events. So we looked at those people and said, great, let's take what they're already doing and just move it into a digital space on Instagram. Like I said, we launched in May 2018 with around 15 to 20 members, and now we have around 30 digital dogs representing nearly every single corner of campus. We're still struggling sometimes to find students from a couple of our smaller schools and colleges, but it's a goal of ours to eventually have every single kind of one of those 17 areas represented. So as you can see here, this is just a screenshot of our directory we have online. If you go to brand.uga.edu, you can navigate to the section about our social media ambassadors. They've all got, links to their accounts, kind of a breakdown of what area of campus they represent, and feel free to go visit that after this and click through and check out their accounts. So how does our program work? Well, like I said, we started by recruiting from these heavily vetted student orgs, our orientation leaders, our visitor center tour guides. And then from there, we began to expand outward to other ambassador groups. So many of our schools and colleges have their own sub-ambassador programs that were doing a lot of in-person representation, things at events, stuff like that. And so we turned to our communicators in, let's say, the College of Education and said, hey, can you give us the contact info for 3 or 4 students you think would be a good fit for this? And that's how we sort of expanded throughout campus. And the reason we started with those most heavily vetted student orgs is because honestly, we knew they would have already done a lot of the work for us. As a team of two, we didn't have the capability to kind of do a really thorough background check, we'll say, not a legitimate background check on these students. Obviously we did, look through their social, talk to them, everything, but we trusted that these other groups across campus had kind of like already done a lot of this work for us, which was really nice. So once we decided to kind of like recruit a student into the Digital Dawgs program, the first step is for them to create and manage a UGA branded Instagram account. So you'll notice in that screenshot I shared previously, all their handles were UGA dot and then their first name. And that's a format we follow with all of them. We initially toyed around with the idea about them using their personal pre-existing Instagram accounts, but then just decided for a variety of reasons to shift entirely towards just having them create new accounts that were sort of like solely focused on this influencer position. We do not have passwords or access to their account at this time. So far, knock on wood, that has not been a problem because we get that question a lot if we can log into their accounts. No, we cannot. And in terms of posting expectations, so they are asked to post to their stories 3 to 4 times per week and post to their main feed at least once a week. The main feed is where we see kind of the most struggle. And I'll admit, I'm the first one to say, I don't even post to my personal Instagram feed once a week. So I totally get it. But stories we see, I would say, more than 3 to 4 times per week from the majority of them. So it all kind of balances out eventually. And then we also expect them to use brand hashtags when relevant and help promote some of our big picture key strategic initiatives, US News and World Report rankings, things like that. And they do use, if you click through to any of their posts, you'll probably see hashtag digital dogs on a lot of them. That's the main one they use. And then hashtag commit to is our main branded hashtag here at UGA. And so we encourage them to use that when appropriate. So the onboarding process, like I said, the students are kind of recruited into the program, and then from there we have sort of a process that we go through. They're added to a GroupMe and an official university listserv. The GroupMe is for more informal communications. They are able to talk amongst themselves, share things back and forth, and the listserv is for more official communication where only we can send information out to them, but they can't like blast to the rest of the members via that listserv. Their Instagram account is created and we provide them with a branded profile image. If you look at all of their accounts, you'll see they have a nice little like UGA filter kind of over it. Just, you know, we thought that lended a little bit of like officiality to their accounts. We have an internal master spreadsheet where we keep all of them listed and all of their student orgs, expected graduation date, things like that. And then we have that online directory that I mentioned. And then from there, we kind of start rolling them out to the campus community and introducing them. So a 15-second intro video is filmed for them. Initially, when we started this program, we kind of arranged filming times on campus and filmed those for them. And then in the last couple of months, I would say we've actually shifted towards having them just film the intro themselves, you know, just straight up selfie style and send that video to us. And then from there, we'll post that intro video into the UGA Instagram story and say like, you know, hey Bulldogs, we've got a new digital dog to introduce you to. Their handles below, go give them a follow. And then we have a digital dogs highlight. So if you navigate to the University of Georgia Instagram account, you will see a digital dogs highlight where you can also kind of meet all of our current members, click through to their accounts and get to know them.
Hey Bulldogs, my name's Andrew Grider. I'm a fourth-year management major from McDonough, Georgia. I'm involved with Dog Camp, the Arch Society, and Greek Life. Follow me at uga.andrew to see our UGA adventures. Go Dogs, blue skies.
So that was Andrew. He's actually graduated since obviously this was filmed, but he was one of our sort of first round digital dogs. And that was just a good example of an intro video that I wanted to share with all of you. And then, yeah, here's just another recent example from one of our ambassadors. This is Christopher. He is a member of UGA Union. They put together programming and events across campus. And so recently they brought a member of the Saturday Night Live cast to campus. So, you know, not only does this speak to prospective students about like the types of things they could get involved with on campus, but it also speaks to current students, especially freshmen who are maybe still trying to like find their place on campus and things like that. And you can see we ask them to kind of format all of their profile bios in the same way. So Christopher's very clear in his. He's a social media ambassador. He's an international affairs major. He also works with international student life as a world leader, and he's director of entertainment, as I said, for UGA Union. So a lot of times we get the question, this program sounds really great, but how do you get them to like actually participate? What kind of is the incentive on their end? So occasionally they will get access to exclusive events. They are often asked before we sort of reach out to a larger student audience to participate in photo shoots and video shoots for UGA marketing material. We give them exclusive branded gear and swag. As you can see, we've got some custom enamel pins and then also bag tags, which was a big request from them. We are more than willing to write them letters of recommendation should they ever need them for anything. And then we're in the process right now of getting the Digital Dogs program approved for experiential learning credit at UGA. All of our undergraduates have to complete an experiential learning program of some sort. It can be a class, an internship, a study abroad, something like that, before they graduate, or in order to graduate, I should say. And so we're in the process right now of getting Digital Dogs added to the list of approved things for that. So potentially they could check that off by being a member of the Digital Dogs program. So the exit process, what happens when someone is ready to graduate? So, or I should say graduate, but also sometimes they just leave because they end up having more on their plate than they can handle. Life happens, we all totally understand that. So the exit process, we remove the students from the GroupMe, the listserv, that spreadsheet that I mentioned. We remove their intro from the Instagram highlight, and we also remove them from the online directory. And then how we sort of transition their account is a work in progress, but we're kind of working out some kinks and everything. One of our previous digital dogs, actually Andrew, whose video I showed you earlier, had the idea that rather than just have them delete their account when they graduate, why not have them help us ID future digital dogs and give that account over to them, essentially. So that's the process we're working under now. So instead of someone just graduating and saying like, hey, peace out, Bulldog Nation, it's been great. Instead, they say, hey, I'm graduating, but here's this new person and they're going to take over my account. So in the case of Andrew, he helped us ID a student named Madison. They had been program coordinators together in this program we have called Dog Camp. It's an extended orientation program. And he said, I think Madison would make a great digital dog. And it worked out really well in their case because they already knew each other. And so it was a very authentic transition from Andrew's account to Madison taking over. And so, the screenshot's a little weird because this is the post Andrew made before he left, but then when Madison took over, she changed the handle. So even though it says it's from UGA Madison, just pretend it says Andrew, and you'll see, he talked about his experience, he introduced Madison. And like I said, that was just a really seamless transition. And sort of that is the ideal we're working towards every time a digital dog leaves the program and someone new joins in. Room for improvement. So like I said, we've been doing this program for almost 2 years now. I'll be one of the first to admit it's definitely not perfect. Like we learn things every day working with these students. We develop new processes. We're always looking for their feedback on what is working and what's not working. So one of the key things where we still struggle a little bit, and I just think this is an inevitable struggle, is the frequency of posting. These students, digital dogs is only one part of their lives at UGA. For the most part, they are all involved in so many other things. I mean, these are really incredible students, just to brag on them for a little bit. So how did we combat that? We asked them, like, would it help if we gave you, prompts? Would it help if we gave you sort of like weekly themes, monthly themes? Would it help if we gave you graphics that you could sort of like fill in the blank with and stuff like that? And so that's something that you'll see right there from Spencer. We sort of asked all of them, who is your favorite UGA professor? Encourage them to fill in the blank and then tag us, and we could share those back into our story. Another thing that this one, honestly, I will say surprised me a little bit was the level of social media skill versus the enthusiasm for the program versus wanting to just bulk up their resume a little bit. So I guess I sort of naively assumed that anyone under the age of 25 is just like a social media whiz and they all know Instagram back and forth and they all use it all the time. That actually didn't turn out to be true. We had a lot of students who initially were very enthusiastic about the program and said like, yes, I want to join, this sounds great. And then a couple months in had to sort of, come to us and say, hey, actually, I don't really use Instagram that much. And it's not really my like preferred platform. It's just like not a thing that I'm drawn to using, which is perfectly fine. I'm like, I understand that. And so we just had to say, well, maybe this program isn't for you. That's totally fine. Let's, remove you and we'll find another student that's more well-suited for this type of thing. So, just that was a learning process for us. We're always looking for how to continue to improve on our sort of like the motivation that we offer the students for participating, the incentives that we offer them. So a lot of times we ask them, what type of, swag and giveaway items are you seeing on campus from other orgs or even like your friends at other schools? And so the bag tags that I showed earlier, that was an idea that came from them. They pointed out that a lot of times on campus, our athletes are really noticeable because they all have these like nice laminated tags that they hang onto their book bags and things like that. Our visitor center tour guides also have bag tags. And so they sort of pointed those out to us as a way that you can easily, like it's a visual cue of a very specific kind of student org that has a little bit of like exclusivity to it. And so we said, great, you want bag tags? Like we can get you bag tags. And so that was a very easy thing to kind of just like offer them as an incentive and to continue to motivate them. So more handholding than initially expected, for sure. I think we sort of just thought we would set them wild on Instagram and they would post all the time. This kind of goes back into the frequency of posting, but they've just needed a little bit more handholding than we thought in terms of providing themes and things like that, which again, we're happy to do. It was just a little bit of a learning curve that they were going to want that from us. Way more behind the scenes logistics to coordinate than expected. Even just in terms of the onboarding and the offboarding process, there's a lot of box to check. a lot of just things to make sure that you're doing. Cool, you removed them from the group meet, but did you remember to remove them off the listserv or the website? Even just the transition process, turning an account over from one student to another is kind of tricky. Instagram, in my perfect world, you could have multiple Instagram accounts tied to one email address, and I could just have them change the email on their accounts to sort of our generic one that we use in our office, and then I could handle the transition process to the new student. But unfortunately, Instagram doesn't work the way I want it to. I'm sure we've all felt that way sometimes. So yeah, that transition process also is just a little trickier than we thought it was going to be. And another one that, was how do we develop that cool factor and kind of, cool factor and have the digital dogs be seen as this exclusive, like recognizable entity on campus. It's still, the reality is this program is definitely still in its infancy. It's not even quite 2 years old yet. And so I think we'll get there eventually. Things like the bag tags and some other exclusive branded merch are making headway into that, but it's just going to take time for them to become a recognizable program on campus. But I will say we did have one of our current digital dogs who works for, is a student worker for housing and is on the kind of student leadership board for that and everything. And she had one of her first year students come to her and say, hey, I know that you're a digital dog and I really want to be one. And like, how do I find out more about that? And so that sort of was a good indicator to us that this program is starting to, become more well-known on campus, especially among our prospective and incoming students, which is the exact audience we're hoping to reach. And for the record, we did onboard that student. His name's Eric. He's one of our newer digital dogs. And, it's great to see that. That is the type of enthusiasm we want from the students that are joining. So as I mentioned, the digital dogs definitely were keen to get topics and stuff from us. So this is from the fall semester of 2019. I had to think about what year we're in right now. So these are by no means posts they have to make. It's more like if you are struggling to post, you can always default to these topics that we give you. And so these are all pretty standard higher ed type things. Moving back, how to get involved on campus. What is your favorite thing about Athens? In October, talk about homecoming. How did you pick your major? Around Thanksgiving, what are some things related to UGA that you're thankful for? And again, these are not a requirement that they have to post about. They're more just there for guidance and help if they need them. So I'm going to quickly run through some screenshots of just post examples from our current digital dogs. This is from Victoria. As you can see, kind of a bigger picture of her feed, and then also a specific post that I wanted to call out about her experiential learning that she was working on. And she saw, as you can see, she used the commit to hashtag, which we really appreciate. Here are some others. Caleb is one of our digital dogs, and he also was an orientation leader last summer. And so a lot of his content at the time focused around being an orientation leader, as you would expect. And I will say that also really helped him to grow his audience in a way that not all of our other digital dogs have access to necessarily. Here are some others. This is from Danielle, her celebrating UGA's birthday, as we'll call it, the date our charter was signed. And then one from around Thanksgiving about what she was thankful for about her experience at UGA. And then here is a post where some of our digital dogs participated in Thank a Donor Day. It's an annual event we do typically in the springtime where students go out on campus and thank our donors. And then Nakaira is one of our most recent digital dogs. She came to us from the Disability Resource Center. And here she is speaking about kind of a program she participated in on campus through dining services called the My Plate Challenge. It was just an eating smart class that kind of gave them tips on like how to eat healthy, how to eat smart. And I will say we in particular work closely with the Disability Resource Center to make sure that we always have at least one digital dog representing that corner of campus and speaking to that experience. Okay, so I wanted to talk really quickly, I'll probably skip through some of these examples of a specific initiative the digital dogs really jumped in on for us. So this is from fall 2018 when our US News and World Report rankings came out. We empowered them to say, hey, we're about to announce that we were the number 13th best public university in the world, or in the world, just kidding, public university in the US. And we empower you to be creative and come up with ways that you can help us spread the news about being number 13. So no surprise, a lot of them thought about, 13 reasons why I love UGA. Let's see, I think these will play. Let's see, back. Sorry. Okay, so it's kind of skimming through. I'm going to jump through, but you can see that this is from Austin, one of our digital dogs. He went through 13 reasons why he loved UGA. We also gave some of them swag bundles. We created 13 bundles of swag that we had around our office and said, hey, go out to campus, be creative. You can play hide and seek with them. You can make it a scavenger hunt. You can tell people where you are and say, if they come to you and answer a trivia question about UGA, you can give them the kind of giveaway items. But we basically want to make sure that you're impressing on them the reason why you're doing this, that there are 13 swag bundles, 13th best public university, just really kind of create some viral, so to speak, buzz on campus about this big announcement. So how else do we use the digital dogs besides just sort of helping us to spread big, exciting university news? They're great for takeovers because we can trust them to kind of understand the type of content we're looking for. They are doing a number of amazing things, study abroad, other experiences on campus, things like that. So I was going to highlight some takeovers that we've done with them. Hopefully this audio will work.
Hey y'all, my name's Austin. I'm a senior studying political science and public relations, and I'm living here in Delta Hall. I'm going to be taking you on a day in the life of a DC dog while interning at the American Red Cross.
Hola y buenos dias, dogs. Today I am in Puerto Viejo, Costa Rica. Today I am going surfing. It's raining today, but I am so excited to take you with me on a day of my life abroad, dogs abroad. So here we go.
Good morning, UGA, all the way from the French Riviera. My name is Ashley, and I am taking you guys along with me on a very, very busy day at the Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity. So let's get started.
All right, so those are just 3 examples. Most of those are from last summer where we had students interning. As you can see, Austin was in DC, where we have Delta Hall, which is a UGA residency there. And then the other 2 are from international study abroads last summer. Oh, wait.
Hey, y'all.
There we go. Sorry. I wasn't going to make you watch those twice. And then these are just some testimonials that we got from our current digital dogs speaking about the program. As you can see, Lindsay pointed out that she's had several potential students reach out to her to kind of talk about what life is like at UGA. Andrew talked about how he appreciated that it kind of integrated the student perspective and social media, provided a holistic view of what life is like here, especially for those who maybe can't, for a variety of reasons, come do a student tour or can't, any number of reasons. So one thing that I didn't highlight specifically on a slide, though, is also just the user-generated content that we get from the digital dogs on a daily basis. The takeovers are great, but it's also really what I find so valuable is just the story they're telling every day about their lives here, where they're studying, where they're going out to eat, the student orgs that they're involved with, what life is really like, because it's great for us in the central account, like the main UGA Instagram. We can kind of present this picture of what life is like here, but because there are so many, as I mentioned when I kicked this off, like competing priorities and competing strategic initiatives, we can only do so much. And so the events and the experiences that we're able to highlight via the digital dogs has just been so valuable to us in the last 2 years. I really cannot stress that enough. So I think I actually came in slightly under time. I know we're just gonna do questions via Twitter and everything, but you can find me on Twitter at jlew8, JLEW, and then the number 8. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have there after this.